Welcome back, everybody, to Waadaplaya Retired Her Concussion Sub Series. We are back yet another series, which this time India is touring West Indies, and they are going to play a couple of games in Florida, which we are looking forward for. Today was the start of the T20 series. One Day Internationals, as you are aware, got concluded. To talk about how the first One Day International went, we got Adi from San Fran. Adi, welcome, and how did you enjoy the first game?
Yeah, the first T20 was good. I think India is like under Rohit Sharma, at least as full-time captain. They've changed their template. Previously, we would start slow and then try to accelerate in the back 10 or like the back 5 overs. And many a times I saw the Indian team ending with like 150, not 150, but like 160 for three, 170 for three, or something like that. And it left like, oh, maybe they should have pressed the accelerated earlier, right? And I think what is helping is a couple of things. One, the batting depth has increased, I feel, because Hardik's back. That's a big positive. And also you have Ashwin or Bhuvi or Harshal who can be like number seven, eight, sorry, eight and nine, and they are able to bat as well, right? Like today as well, we were what 130, 125, 130, 132 for six, I think,
Yeah.
something like that. And then like if you had like a very long tail, if not Ashwin, you could have been 150 all out. But Ashwin hung in there, hit a couple of boundaries, and then stayed with DK, and we got 190, which is like above par. I think 180 was par there, 175, 180. So all said and done, this approach is working. But as you saw in the second T20 against England, that approach didn't work, and we were like 110, 120 all out. But it's okay. Like you have to back your batters. So most of the time it will work, and fingers crossed. Hopefully they continue on this approach for the World T20.
Yeah, it was great to see. And what was useful also to understand is the batting strategy. We were surprised in one day internationals and in England when Rishabh Pant opened up. But today they brought in Sky for opening. Do you feel Dravid and Rohit are experimenting here, or what is the opening combinations going to look like? KL Rahul isn't COVID out, so
Yeah, that is the challenge. I think they are trying different combinations. Co- uh, they tried Pant. I think Dhawan's out of the T20 frame, right? So he was only there for the ODIs. So yeah, that approach is all right. But once Kale and Kohli come back, like you don't have both, like because if you remember against England, Rohit and Kohli opened. Right? It's not that he wasn't tried up there as well.
yeah.
So they've had multiple approaches. I think they're trying to find like a backup opener. I think KL will still continue to open. Once he comes back with KL and Rohit will open, but they want like a backup. You don't know who gets injured or like who gets COVID these days, right? And they're out. So they're trying different options. They tried Kohli, now they tried Pant, now they're trying Sky, right? So it's a good option, and I think Huda also in Ireland at least, right? So they are trying various options, which is a good thing. You want to have backups, but when KL Rahul comes back to the team, I want his approach to change. It can't be the same approach he was at Kings 11 Punjab or LSG, where he was holding one end up, right? Like anchor, and then he would accelerate in the 14th over, 15th over onwards. But with this Indian team, his approach needs to change. We saw that with Kohli as well. Like even in the England T20s, he was trying to hit from ball one. So I hope Rahul also embraces that and does that, right? But it's a good approach. I like changing different openers. You don't know, like someone might shine really well as opener, and maybe you decide to open with them than KL Rahul, right? So these are all games. We have like 15 more games to try all this. So all this is good.
Excellent. Batting definitely came good, and thankfully there was a lot of slack given to Dinesh Karthik. His scores were very low in the last 10 innings. He didn't score many, but people missed the point about the timing at which he came to the crease. So today, seeing him finish that game is giving such a lot of positive energy. I have a good feeling that he is in the World Cup squad, not contention squad. How do you define his chances going into the World Cup?
Yeah, definitely. I think he will be part of the squad for sure because he's your designated finisher, and this is the double-edged sword with being a finisher, right? Like many games, you will get out for a low score. Hmm? You will not have a very high average, and you come in the 17th over, you try to hit one game it works, one game it doesn't work. If the game it doesn't work, you're out for like 5 of 3 or 1 of 2 or something like that. But it's all right. Like everyone is playing their roles. So you can't expect Dinesh, like a Rohit Sharma string of 30s, 40s, or 50s, or like a Surya Kumar Yadav. You can't expect that from DK. Uh, I do think one thing where they're a couple of games they held him back too far, DK, right? Like, let's say India is 78 for 5 or something. Then you send Ashwin or someone about DK, which I am not a big fan of. Like, DK is like a recognized batsman. He can play to the situation. 5, 6 overs, he can, play normally and then take the attack in the last 4, 5 overs. So, that thing is something which the team is not. Adapted fully yet, in my opinion, where they should try to put DK in at 7, even if more number of wickets have fallen down. So I think they tried that defensive tactic with Akshar Patel, or in another match, I think Jadeja came about DK. Like all those things. So I would be like, hey, like trust DK to hang in there and then accelerate. He's not just there to just accelerate.
Absolutely. And Andy Handy asks a question: who will be our dead bowlers? If I look at today's scorecard, Adi, six bowlers used by Rohit Sharma. Bhuvi bowled only 2 overs, Pandya two, but Arshdeep, Jadeja, Ashwin, and Bishnoi bowled their quota of 4 overs, and none of them surpassed 6.5 as a run rate. So, what are our dead bowling options looking like?
See, like we have to we have to look at who's going to come back to the T20 squad. We have Bumrah, we have Shami. Both of them are not in the squad or like being rested, right? So once they come back, both of them kind of walk into the team and most probably the playing 11 as well. Like people have reservations against Shami. Oh, should we need him in the T20? This, but I think he's a very good asset with the new ball. We've seen in the successful campaign for Gujarat Titans as well. Every match or every other match, Shami will get the top order wickets of the opposition batsman, which is crucial, right? So then, if you have Shami in there as well, you essentially have Bhuvi and Bumrah who are going to start, in my opinion, both of them. And then Bhuvi and Bumrah can bowl at the back end because Shami can give you 3 in the power play, hmm, if needed. And again, it depends on the balance. Do you want to play more spinners? Like today, I really liked India played 3 spinners, right? Jadeja, Ashwin, and Bishnoi. So that depends on the balance. But I do think it's Bhuvi and Bumrah. Those are slotted. The third option can be, as you saw, Arshdeep is good. Then you also got Harshal Patel. Then you've got Shami as well. So depending on what combination they go in with, but I see all of these 5, 6 getting into the squad, 15 or 18. We don't know if it's an 18-man squad or a 15-man squad. Depending on that, they'll get into the squad, and we'll see how the combinations work.
Absolutely. So I know we are biased towards India, but let's switch focus on what happened with West Indies. They, of course, have all the power hitters, T20 specialists, as they say. So, what went wrong? 190, yes, is a tough score, but are they so bad that they're losing to Bangladesh and now India? And I know you want a final score, but I really want a 2-2 score for Florida match sake. But what is going wrong with West Indies?
I think with West Indies, correct me if I'm wrong, they won the T20I series. They lost the ODI series 3-0 to Bangladesh. T20I West Indies is still better than the ODI outfit. I think the problem is they kind of don't hang around. They try to hit from ball one. Like even if you see today, after the initial couple of wickets fell down, maybe Puran and others they could have taken the game to the last 5, 6 overs, right? Rather than trying to hit out from the earlier stage. Because even if the net run rate, sorry, even if the required run rate goes into like 13 or 14 or 15, it is chaseable when you have set power hitters. So when you lose wickets, I think that's a challenge. And also, West Indies have been facing this, right? Like Naren's not part of their. They're going through this transition. Puran is a new captain, and Naren's also like not in their squad and playing 11. When he's a very good bowler, he he has kept the economy rate down in IPL, and I think he should be a part of the squad for West Indies. I know that's where that there, and they've got that leadership transition which has happened. Pollard was the captain. Now you've made Puran the captain. Puran's just getting started and trying to get a hold of things. So all those are the challenges what we are seeing, right? They have all-round players, but that is the challenge. Think we'll move on to the next question. Is Anirudh asked this questions on who's the best pair with Rohit. He says Rohit and Ishan should open. I don't think Rohit, like I was answering Anirudh's question, who's the best pair with Rohit? He thinks it's Ishan. I don't think it's Ishan, at least my take on it. There are multiple options before Ishan, as I said, KL Rahul. Then you've got uh, Rohit, Rohit and Kohli, Rohit and KL, Rohit and Kohli. Then you got Rishabh Pant. Then you got Surya Kumar, and Ishan might not even make it to the squad, or like okay, might be like a backup keeper. But you have Pant and DK. So do you want a third backup keeper if the squad is 15 or 18? So yeah, I think Rahul walks in given his pedigree and experience. But let's see where they end up with.
Absolutely. Player of the match, no surprises, is Dinesh Karthik. West Indies have a lot of thinking to do. India have thinking to do in a better way, which is who would be the top 15 or top 20. Uh, Vishak's asking the question which you covered at the start. What do you think about the new approach? So you basically are saying go with this, even if you fail in 2 or 3 matches. This is a long-term approach.
Correct, exactly. Like if you see the 2019 World Cup, I know this is ODIs and that is T20. England came in with that approach and they won the tournament. Hmm? So even in UAE, the big challenge with the T20 World Cup was toss became super critical. We saw that in the second half of the IPL as well, right? 2021 IPL and the T20 World Cup which followed. Toss more or less decided all the matches. Dew was such a big factor, but I don't think it's not going to be the same in Australia. It's going to be more balanced. It's not so heavily biased with the toss. So looking into that, this approach is useful. I think they should still continue to have it. And the batters we have, they can clear the grounds in Australia as well. It's not like, hey, you're playing on smaller grounds in India. That is the only place where this approach is going to work. I think this approach is going to work in Australia as well.
Absolutely. And Aniruddha Chakra points out one other player. Now, if Virat Kohli plays, nobody talks about any other player. If Virat Kohli does not play, then we talk about Shreyas Iyer. So will he be in contention of World Cup? I think unlikely, but what do you feel?
I think he has a chance. Like Shreyas Iyer doesn't, uh, he doesn't fail badly, is what I would say. Like he's always there, he's consistent, but he doesn't have those huge scores to back him up. Hura did get that 100, right? So it is going to be tough. He's not 100% sure, I think, in my opinion, Shreyas Iyer, because Sky is there, but Sky's also been like slightly inconsistent. One match he'll score this amazing 100, next 3 matches, he gets out. Uh, so yeah, like he's in the contention. Huda, I like Huda because he can bowl as well. Like it is what it is. You need like an extra option. Like with Hardik, you have six. But if Hardik gets injured, I think Huda is like a replacement. His spin bowling is not as good as Hardik's pace bowling, but at least you have something. So if you got Rohit, Kohli, Rahul, uh, Surya, Pant, and DK, uh, so it's a straight on fight between Surya and Shreyas for that spot, right? So like, and then removing all the Ishans and Hudas also. So it's not like a guaranteed place in the playing 11 for Shreyas. He's fighting with Surya, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And a new twist, Ravichandran Ashwin given chance in a T20. Today he justified his place, Rishabh. I give it to him. He was part of a crucial partnership with DK. I think 50 plus they put together. And he bowled 4 overs, 2 for 22. I personally feel he justified his chances. I do not know where he fits in the grand scheme of things. Are the World Cup contentions?
I think he should be in there. Like he's even in the IPL, he wasn't picking a lot of wickets, but his economy was really good, right? So he holds one end up, and Chahal is our main go-to spinner, right? So once As a backup, do you want Bishnoi, Kuldeep, or Ashwin? I think that is the question we need to ask. For Jadeja, you have Aksar backup, and Jadeja walks into the T20 team, like unless he has a bad patch of T20 eyes now.
Yeah.
So you have Akshar for his like-to-like replacement. Then I think Chahal is our preferred go-to spinner, number one spinner currently. Then the second spinner spot, is it Ashwin? Is it Bishnoi? Is it Kuldeep? Kuldeep is not getting chances, which I'm annoyed with, right? I hope India's win 3-0 and Kuldeep plays the last two matches. I know Suman doesn't like it, but we should definitely try Kuldeep as well. And then it's like a fight between Kuldeep, Bishnoi, and Ashwin for the second spinner spot.
Interesting. And given that the World Cup is in Australia, I feel that there will be only one spinner in the playing 11 unless we get like a Sydney or an Adelaide. Probably there is only one place in the playing 11. Is that fair?
One plus Jadeja, right? So that
Oh,
like
okay.
yeah, you're right. So again, depends on what kind of pitches. If the match is in Sydney or Adelaide, as you said, or one advantage in Australia I feel is the grounds are much bigger, so it actually helps a spinner like Kuldeep or Bishnoi who try to uh, give the ball more air and try to get the batsman to hit it for a six. So that is there. So let's see how that goes.
Absolutely. And there were a lot of names which again changed in West Indies. A lot of big players retired in the past 4 years or so, similar to the India transition, and a lot of youngsters in West Indies. So Nicholas Puran captaincy. Do you think they, he's probably the reason why they are having a problem? We'll switch to ODI right after this.
Yeah, yeah. I was talking about it earlier, right? Like Russell and Naren, they are in decent form. I think they deserve a place in the current playing 11 in the T20s at least for West Indies. I don't know for what reasons both of them are not there. Pollard has retired, and Gale as well. Like I don't know what his availability is like. It is very fluid, right? Like is he playing? Is he not playing? I think West Indies were in a tough spot because Pooran is the only choice left for captain, or they go back to Holder. That was their only option, right? But I think Holder, they still haven't. He still doesn't have like a place, a narrowed down place in the playing 11s in ODIs T20s. We've seen that in both in this the chopping and changing. Romario Shepard played the ODIs. Holders playing the T20Is. So uh, they didn't have any other option but Puran, and Puran's new, and it will take time for him to learn. That's
Absolutely.
what I think.
Cool. So that was first T20. Stay tuned. Four more will come back. But we also want to take this opportunity to review the ODI series, which India won 3-0. Comprehensive victory. West Indies got dropped. First one day, India scored 308 batting first. It was a close game, won by 3 runs. Second game, again, a high scoring 311. India won by 2 wickets, close game. And the third one was completely one sided. 225 India scored, which was rain hit, and India won by 119 runs. Duckworth Lewis. Expected result, Ali?
3-0 was expected. Like Bangladesh won against the same team just a few weeks ago, 3-0, right? So you would have expected India, even with like I think six or seven of their top players missing. You didn't have Rohit, you didn't have Kohli, you didn't have Rahul, you didn't have Bumrah, you didn't have Bhuvi, you didn't have Pant. So the list goes on, right? So, but still, it was expected India would win. I thought the third match, the first two matches, all three matches will be more or less cakewalks. But credit to the West Indies, they batted really well in both the matches. They took took the game to over 300 runs, and India just held on. Right in the first match, it was Siraj who held on, and there was a great save by Sanju Samson as well. It was India just held on, and in the second match, Akshar Patel, full credit to him, right? So he
Yep.
was able to single-handedly chase that down. Because Shreyas and Huda, they got out at the wrong time, but Akshar was there to kind of finish the game. So it was an expected result scoreline, but it was much closer than what the scoreline says. Like, hey, uh, it's a 3-0 whitewash, right? It's much closer than that. So kudos to West Indies for. I think Pooran also said this. That's their mindset. After the first match, this match is like a win for us, given like where they were coming from. They lost all three matches comprehensively to Bangladesh, and India is a much more well-rounded ODI side than Bangladesh. So And another thing was, I think in versus Bangladesh, they were playing in Guyana, where probably the pitches had more aid for spinners, and where we played, it wasn't that the pitches were more flatter. So that helped the West Indies team because if the pitches were spinning a lot, we would have played two or three spinners, and matches would have been more one-sided.
Absolutely. And Aniruddha says BCCI ने इतना experiments किया है अब तो scientific research center बनाना पड़ेगा. Funny. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. It is good. Like we have so many players, we can like play two matches in parallel, two or three matches in parallel. We have such squad depth, right?
Yeah.
That's what I always keep saying. We have such squad depth. We need to be fight washing all teams, or like we need to be winning ruthlessly, like everything 4-1, 5-0,
Yeah.
anywhere we go. So it's good. This year you saw like one team was playing tests in England, and a completely independent team was playing T20 ice in Ireland. Hmm. Now the ODI team, as I said, there were like 7 or 10 missing from like the main India squad. Still, we won 3-0. And Ireland as well. I think one match came close, but we were able to win again. So the team has that much squad depth that they can easily win matches wherever they go. And even like you want to call it India A, India B, India C, but they're still delivering. As long as that happens, that matters.
Yeah, I was just going to come to Dhawan's point and Vishal asked the question. First question. Dhawan becomes the captain. I think he'll be unbeaten in West Indies one day history, which is great record to be. But what is his future? I feel really bad for him. They make him a makeshift captain. He wins the series. I don't think he's got next 2 3 month any one day international series coming up, and he will disappear. So, any thoughts on his future?
Yeah, he hasn't done anything wrong. That's the problem, right? Dhawan, he scored the 90. He actually captained much better, to be honest. Relative to the captaincy he did with Sunrisers, or I think he did with some franchisees in the IPL, or even in Sri Lanka when we went with like B team or something, right? B or C team. This time he was a lot more composed. He was making the field changes better. He was talking to I think Surya and Hardik as well in these close matches, right? When especially in the first match, and he was maintaining his calm and he did okay, right? Like good captaincy, thumbs up. But good point by Vishak. Gill has had like even in the first two matches where he got out, Gill made a mistake rather than the ball getting him out. First match he was run out, direct throw. Second match, I think he was trying to play a scoop and the ball hit the toe end of his back. So Gill was in amazing form. He was really good in the IPL as well, Gill for Gujarat Titans. So I think it's time to move on, but it would be very harsh on Dhawan because KL will be back. He would want to open with Rohit. So let's see. It's a good. It's going to be a tough call the selectors have to make, or Dravid and selectors have to make. Whether they just let go of Dhawan, this is your goodbye series. You were made captain, you won it, and then now you're moving on to Rahul and Gill. That might happen. We never know. So let's see.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Excellent. So good series, one day international for India. I think also Gill capitalized the chances he's got. I think the first match he played really well. The second match it was rained off. He was almost nearing century. I know he has slowed down a little bit. Cool.
Yeah.
Going into the second T20, do you expect any changes India will be doing with the experimentation mode?
I think seeing what Dravid and Rohit are doing, they like to give people continuous chances. They are not going to chop and change for every match. Like that's unlikely. Um, I think India will play the same playing 11. I don't think, and we have 5 matches, right? It's not like we've got just three and you need to make a
Yeah.
change. I think India should go in and play with the same playing 11 and see where it goes.
Excellent. All right, good stuff. We will be back again for the second game, and we will have remember last two games coverage live from Florida. I'll be there. Hopefully, it doesn't rain, and we'll look for a super over then. Adi, thanks very much for making time. Really appreciate it. For folks who have engaged, Aniruddha, Andy Handy, as usual, thank you. Vishal, thank you, and the folks who are watching, it encourages us. Continue to support us. Click that like button and tell your family friends to subscribe to us. Until next time, thank you very much. See you later, Adi.
Thanks, Suman. Bye.